What's going on, everybody? It's Samp, it's Chance. We are here live. It's been a minute. I'm sorry, guys. Things have been happening. What can you do? You can't control life. But hey, Mr. Chance Michaels, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Considering the circumstances and everything that's going on in life right now, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm blessed.
Good. Good.
It puts life in perspective, right?
Yeah.
So, not one to really indulge too much, but we lost a dear family member on our side here. So we're just kind of dealing with that and just getting going through the motions and getting ready for the funeral this week. So that's really it, man. Shout out to grandma, respect to her, 92 years.
Yeah.
Mad
It's a long
props, man.
life.
She saw it all. She saw it all, right? I mean, she saw all the major things that have happened in the world up to this point to
Yeah.
some extent. So you can't take that away from her, right?
Absolutely not.
All right, brother man, but we do live, we are alive, and life goes on. The world keeps spinning, the sun goes up, and the moon comes up. So, hey, here we are, brother man. Survivor Series this Saturday here in Vancouver. Let's get right into it, my friend. First off, your initial thoughts on the card. You wanted to say something before we started recording. Let's get to it.
Yeah. If you look at the card or know the card, their main champion, Cody Rhodes, is not defending or even on the card. This is what I've been saying for months. The belts don't mean anything anymore to the new regime. How can you have your supposed number one champion? I guess some people say Gunther is, but Cody's supposed to be your top champion. He's not even fighting. So they have nothing for him. And this is what I'm saying about creative. I know he's arguing with Owens and stuff, but to not have your top star competing at one of your big four is it shows to me they have no ideas and they're just recycling the old bloodline stuff. It's getting tiresome. So that's my initial thoughts looking at the card.
Okay, well, first off, Cody, they set him aside to make him the main event for Saturday night's main event. So that I think is the reasoning behind it.
But
That's
still,
why
this is
they're doing it.
he's your main guy. He's supposed to be he says I'm the champion that defends. I'm the one that's here. No, you
Yeah.
don't. You never fight.
Well, you know what though?
It's creative. Creative is
Fair play.
super nerds running the show, and you can see it in the card.
Well, I tell you what, man, I see what you're saying. I can't disagree with your point, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll make the point that maybe this is an opportunity for other guys to shine, like Gunther, other guys that are on the card here. So,
If that's the case, then get the belt off of Cody then and let somebody else have it. If you don't think he should be the main event. Him and Gunther, or those two guys should be the main of the card. They're not bloodlines taking the whole show over. So
well, I mean, that's the main storyline right now. But anyways, let's get into the card itself here. WWE United States Championship, LA Knight against Shinsuke Nakamura. This is a feud that's just kind of been building. Shinsuke's kind of back. He's kind of a darker kind of character, more sinister Japanese kind of character. So it's going to be kind of an interesting match. I mean, the build-up on this has been pretty good. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I can see Shinsuke actually winning this one. So I'm going to go Shinsuke on this one.
I'll probably say the same thing. It's so hard to well, it's not hard to book to pick the prediction on the show because this is like these are lame duck bookers. But yeah, probably Shinsuke because he's coming back as a dark character. He's got the hype. He's got the momentum. LA Knight has had the belt for a little bit now. I think they want to give Shinsuke Nakamura a little bit of a push because for the last year or two they've had nothing for him.
Yeah,
So
and he's
probably
looking
Shinsuke.
great. This darker character looks really good. He kind of reminds me of an old, kind of the mystical Japanese characters. You know
And
what
when
I
he
mean?
just came back, 2 weeks ago,
About 3 weeks ago now.
and he's already having a U.S. title. This is what I mean with the booking. It's just so schizophrenic. But we'll
Okay.
see. Should be a good match in saying
Yeah.
that. But
WWE Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker, I think he's a face again versus Ludwig Kaiser here. I'm looking forward to this match. It looks pretty good. I mean,
or
as long
Sheamus, it's a triple threat.
no, I don't see. Oh, Sheamus is here too. Yes, it's a
Yes, triple
triple
threat.
threat. I apologize, man. My eyes are a little blurry. I'm still getting up here. Yeah, so we got Breaker, Sheamus, and Ludwig in a triple threat match here. Um, I'm gonna have to go with Breaker on it. I think you just got to keep him strong. I don't think Sheamus needs the title, and Ludwig is just kind of thrown in there, just to kind of disrupt. I mean, it's more of a Sheamus Ludwig feud, which Braun is kind of being thrown into. So I think most of the attention, one of those two guys is gonna make a mistake, which is gonna allow Braun to win it. So I'm gonna say Braun.
Yeah, I don't understand this match either. To me, this is a match you could see on Raw. We just seen Braun going at. Braun's going to keep it. He's young. They want to keep him the face, keep him hot. But like this, to me, this match is an absolute bathroom break filler. It just doesn't make any sense. You don't need these three guys going at it. If you want to do the Ludwig Sheamus thing, have them have their own match. This is a Raw match, if you ask me.
All right. WWE Heavyweight Championship match, Gunther versus Damian Priest. They have built this up really, really nice. Now, I think Gunther's going to go over just the way they've been building it, based on what we saw last night as well, with Damian getting the upper hand. That's usually a pray tell sign that, the other guy's going to go over at the end of the day. But the way they're building it, because I know that, in your mind, I'm not trying to read your mind or put the
Mhm.
thoughts out there, but I could almost see you saying, like, wow, we've already seen this match. Why do you need to see it? Blah, blah, blah. But the way they built it up to make it viable, I'm actually looking forward to it. It should be a fun match. But I say Gunther goes over, but they kept Damian strong. They made it look like, oh, there is a possibility here that he can win this. And maybe he can. Maybe this will be a surprise. Who knows? But I'm going to say Gunther.
There will be no surprise here. Gunther is not losing the scrap. He's taking it to WrestleMania. So this match will be a good match. But my thing is, what's the point of it? Because we know we know Priest has no chance of winning the belt. They already took it off him in a short time. He's not getting that belt back, if ever, probably not. So this match to me again is the story is good, but to me, what's the point of booking a match when the average fan knows it's not believable that Priest could win this? And to
Well,
me,
here's the thing.
it takes away from the show.
I gotta say something to you here, okay? Honestly, like if you're gonna have that thought, and I'm not saying you're wrong,
Mm,
that's your thought. That's awesome. How if you already know that this man's going to hold the title all the way up to Mania, everybody he fights he's going to lose, so it's always going to be the same situation,
yeah,
right?
but shouldn't be that way because what I'm saying, you just thanks for bringing my point up. The booking is too predictable. We don't have any surprises. They don't have the this is must see TV anymore. They're just going through the motions. And what I don't understand, when you're supposed to have a pay per view, you're supposed to have the heels up, the heels up, the heels going over before the pay per view. Then when you have the pay per view, the faces go over and win. But they do a complete opposite now. It's just so schizophrenic booking. I don't understand it.
So,
So
so
many similarities between AEW and Raw and WWE booking now. For example, last night we seen the Creed brothers versus Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio. Why? What's the point of that match? Nobody knows anything about the Creed brothers. We don't know anything about them. They're good workers. We don't know their character. We don't know their story.
but
They're
this is how
just
you
throwing,
build it up. But
but
that's why they're on
we
the
don't know
show,
anything
so you
about them. They
can see.
haven't told us about their character. We don't
But
know.
this is
They don't
this is
talk. They don't do nothing, right?
well, no, they do talk. You have to watch it a
So
bit more,
no,
man.
I did, but we don't know anything about them. Like I couldn't tell you anything about these guys besides they're good athletes. So they're throwing matches together for the sake of throwing
No,
them
no,
together.
no,
And
no.
that's kind of
See,
what
that's the
AEW
thing. You
does.
got to watch NXT. You got to watch all the other
But
shows.
nobody does. So that's what I'm saying. Nobody watches NXT.
But you're talking from a casual fan point,
But
right? Like
only 600,000 people watch NXT, so nobody's watching the program, right? And you're getting a
disagree.
million more on Raw. So when
No.
people tune, the big show is Raw. You want to know
No, I
what's
get
going on.
it,
You
but
don't know
if
what's
you're
going
gonna
on.
keep saying that, oh, we don't know who these guys are, then if they don't come on TV and actually do stuff,
But
then
they're
how
not.
can you get to know them?
But
I
they have
mean,
to
we
tell the
never knew who
story.
Seth were. We didn't know who.
But they're not telling the story though. That's a different regime. This is a new regime. They don't tell stories that great on everybody. The only story we have going on right now is Bloodline, and it's all Bloodline now. So that match was pointless to me because there's no stakes on the line. But just have a tag match for the sake of having a tag match, and I don't like that kind of booking personally.
All right. All right, guys, let's get on to the war game matches themselves. Let's get into the women's one. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, who's now out. I think Bailey's taking her spot. Io Sky, Naomi versus Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jackson, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. This kind of came very quickly over the last 3 weeks. They built this up. Jade getting injured. It looks like the bad guys are more in sync, even though they have issues within their own little clique there. You got both women's champions on one side competing against these other ladies, and having Bailey in there, you can see Bianca being kind of whiny. I think she's selling it pretty well. I didn't realize she had gold teeth either. That's the first time I've ever seen her face that close up. She's got those gold fillings in there, man. It
Yeah,
looks kind of
the
cool.
grills. Yeah,
Yeah, the grill. So that's kind of an interesting. I don't know if that's new or if that's some kind of character change that we're looking for towards the future. I mean, we keep saying that Jade versus Bianca at Mania. It almost looks like it would be Jade being the face here going into this feud if it happens based on the way Bianca's acting.
yeah,
To be honest, I think the heels are going to go over in this one, man.
yeah. This one's a tough one to call. I don't know. It should be a good
Well, here,
match,
I'll
but
tell
yeah.
you this, man. SmackDown was already pre-taped, right?
Mm,
So one of the smart things that they've done, and I remember you saying to me one time, the reason a lot of shows don't happen here is because of the taxes.
mm,
Now, this totally makes sense why they did it in Vancouver. It's Thanksgiving long weekend in the States.
yeah,
They've given off the roster the whole week off to celebrate with their family, which means SmackDown was pre-taped. So we can already tell you that the heels have the advantage in both war game matches
Thanks
based
for
on
saying that. What did I just say earlier in the show? You want this is actually one thing they did smart. The heels have the edge right now. So what does that mean? The faces are going to go over. So I'm taking the faces in this match, in the women's match, because they're building the heat, and then you want to boo the bad guys, bad girls. You want to I hate them. You tune in, and what happens? The good girls win. So
oh,
I got the faces winning on this
I'm gonna
one.
go I'm gonna go the heels just because of what they keep doing here. But if the faces go over, the only way this could be feasible based on the way you've described it is Rhea has to pin Liv.
That could be.
Right? That's the only way that, in my mind, that it would justify it. So, but back to the original point that I was saying to you, my friend, if you think about it, you would normally have gotten SmackDown here too, because what they do
Yeah.
is they do their outside kind of pre-show thing a few hours earlier, like, in the afternoon, and then they have the show, and then they would, do the pay-per-view on the Saturday. So we've lost SmackDown here. I don't know if we're getting the preview show. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard
I don't
anything
think
here
so.
locally. So I don't know if we're going to get one of those. So we're just getting the straight pay-per-view, which makes sense from a financial standpoint from them,
Yeah. No, I don't blame them.
right? I don't think many people thought about that because I thought, like, wait a minute, why aren't we getting SmackDown? You
Yeah.
know? So, all right, men's War Games match. I don't know how much we can talk about it, but Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk, the original Heyman guy.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise debut. I think a lot of people were thinking it could have been Brock, it could have been this. If it was
Seth.
if it was going to be, I don't think Seth was involved in any way. But Brock, I think
No, they were saying that on the blogs because they thought because the Bronson thing, right? But
I thought so too, but Bronson fits in there more. Like, even though he's Australian, he looks Samoan. He looks like
yeah.
he fit right in with that crew, right? The
Mm-hmm.
tattoos, everything. So I mean, he's more of an honorary who's than Sammy is, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. But ultimately, you know what? Like, I think I think the good guys win here.
Yeah. It's
Or
this one's hard
Punk
to call.
or Punk turns on them. I don't know. Like, this is the thing. There's so many
No, he's not going
dynamics
to
here,
turn.
but you never know. Look at him and look at how he was dressed. That's the
Yeah.
first time I've seen the guy in a t-shirt with his
Yeah.
suit. You know what I mean? Just the
I kind of
look.
got a feeling. I kind of got a feeling that Solo Sequoia's team and Bronson and Tomatonga's team. I think the heels are going to go over here just because they're a lot younger than the other side, and they're still young, they get still hungry, so you want to keep building up. So they
Sure.
want to build Solo up a little bit more as the new tribal chief on the bad guy side. He's doing a better job, so I think he needs that rub, and I think they need to build the
No,
story and
hey.
keep it fresh. I think he wins. Who knows if this one's 50-50.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be there. So, I'm trying to take everything you're saying with a grain of salt because I still want to go in there with a happy
Yeah, who
mind
knows? I could
and
be wrong.
enjoy the
I'm
show.
just guessing, right?
I think watching it on TV is very different than being there live. You know what I mean? It's a different experience. You were there for the Elimination Chamber. You saw it live
Mm-hmm.
in Montreal, wasn't it? Yeah, when
Yeah.
you went, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, it's a different experience. I'm looking forward to the show. I'm looking forward to the experience of it, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to watch a War Games live. I've watched them. I mean, this is War Games would be a WCW creation,
Yeah.
right? War Games was created by Dusty Rhodes.
Yep.
So, I mean, from that perspective alone, I'm looking forward to it, and it should be a lot of fun. I'm going to be taking a lot of videos. I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures. I'm going to be doing a lot of posts from there. I might even go live a couple of times, right? I wish you were there with me, brother man, but I understand circumstances are
No,
such.
my kid's going. My kid's going with his friend.
Oh, okay, very
I'm
cool.
looking at tickets right now. It's like I could get in for 180, which isn't bad.
Yeah, they dropped quite a bit, eh?
But that's what happens. Well, because people buy them, they raise them so high, and if they don't
Yeah.
sell them, you got to bring them down, right? So I might
Yeah.
go. I don't know.
Well, if you're there, brother man, but I'll be there. I'll be representing us to the fullest effect, and we'll do what we have to do, man. So
Yeah.
that's basically the WWE in a nutshell
This the
this
men's
week.
main event is hard. I don't really know how to call that one. It's 50-50. I can see it going either way, and either way they book it wouldn't be wrong, right? I
No,
gotta
it
think
wouldn't
the
be
heels go
wrong.
over
But
because of
like I
Solo.
said, I'm looking at what Heyman's wearing,
Mhm.
because that's just so out of character. So if that's a new look, if he's selling something new and then having Punk come out like the way he did and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I don't know why. I could be completely off base. It could be completely something, we're not expecting. But maybe you see the heel turn here,
Mhm. Okay.
right? Like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, Paul Heyman can argue you weren't there when I got the shit kicked out of me.
Yeah.
You let me get beat up. I've done everything for you. I've sacrificed everything for you, sort of a deal, to Roman, sort of a deal. right? So this is his kind of like, payback. I mean, who knows? I don't know.
Something's gonna go down here because they got to build for Royal Rumble, right? That's the next big pay per view after this one. So something's gonna happen in this match. Set
Well,
up the.
something's going to happen here, and
We'll
then
see.
like we're going into the quiet phase now. We're going into the holiday season, so nothing really will pick up. I think now after Survivor Series, the big next event will be December 14th, which is the Saturday night's main event. After that, we kind of coast into the new year. Raw starts up in January. John Cena's coming back in January.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a whole year coming up here of brand new stuff, new directions and things. So let's see how it all plays on, man. I'm looking forward to it. The future looks bright. I'm looking forward to see what they do on Netflix. But let's get through this week first.
And Netflix is going back to 3 hours. I'm pretty sure too.
That's what I'm hearing. But let's see
Yeah,
what they do, man.
that
Let's see
waters
what
it
they do.
down right there. They would have kept it 2 hours. It would stay more fresh. You're gonna do three
Yeah.
hours again. It waters it down.
Well, let's see what they do. Let's see what they do. Because I know on Netflix, do they have commercials? No. So it's going to be kind of an interesting thing to see how they play 3 hours here.
Well, I already know that we've already seen their shows. We've seen the best they can do, and I'm telling you, it's not going to be any different on Netflix. It's going to be longer.
Again, let's see what they do without commercials. That's what I'm waiting for. I can't judge it until I see the product at least once. But I hear
Well, we
what you're
already know
saying.
that. Well, we've seen it 1,000 times, right? They don't. They're going to be the same people on Raw that we see right now. I mean, yeah, you'll add in a Xena, but it's going to be the same type of show. The thing is, they're better when they're 2 hours. Now we're going back to three. Waters it down. So we'll see
Okay.
what happens. Yeah.
Well, let's play it out, man. Samp&Chance. Well, Samp will be here at Survivor Series for now, for sure. Flying Reigns, I know will be there. Little Miss will be there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Mama Samp will be with me as well. So it's a family affair. And if you're there, that's amazing. Let's try to connect it up and
Mm-hmm.
figure things out. But yeah, man, Survivor Series in a nutshell. All right, let's move on to Full Gear AEW. I don't want to go too deep into it, but man, we watched some of it together. Your thoughts on the show?
Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. 6.5 out of 10. It's too long. 4 hours is too long for pay per view. The Bobby Lashley versus Swerve match is really good. Bobby looked good. He's 49 years old, but he's still fast. Still the best athlete on the roster. So they both worked hard. The type of match that I enjoy seeing. I thought it was the best match in the card. I didn't see the Darby and John match that night. I seen it the next day. That was all right. That was good too. But I thought Bobby and
Sorry.
Swerve was
What's it? Freshly squeezed. It wasn't Darby.
Darby versus John Moxley.
No, it wasn't Darby. It was freshly squeezed
Oh,
guy.
Orange Cassidy, yeah.
Orange
Get those
Cassidy,
little guys,
yeah.
get those little
Yeah.
guys confused. Yeah, no, and that match is all right, but Bobby and Swerve I thought stood out. Osprey and Fletcher is a good match. Now the problem is, I thought about it after watching it on YouTube, is when they do that pile driver tombstone from the apron onto the stairs,
Yeah.
the match should be over. It's
Yeah.
over. But they keep going on. And that's the problem with new wrestling. They do it in WWE too. That should be it. If you get your head pile drive onto cement from the apron, that should be the end of the match.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And so that hurt the match, I thought, looking back on it and watching the highlights again. So I thought that hurt the match. A strong match besides that. But that kills it, right? And there's no psychology there. It's like it's too wrestling is best when it's reality based. And when you see you get your head smashed into that jumping tombstone pile drive, I don't think we've seen that before.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that from the apron to the stairs? I don't think
No.
so.
No.
So
no.
that should be it. You've never
Yeah.
seen that move before. That should be, maybe on the indies, but it's over. It's not over. And that goes to show you the lack of smarts backstage at AEW. And that kills the show.
Well, I mean, we've seen so many matches. Well, maybe you haven't, but I've seen so many matches like that in Japan on the independent scene, things like that, where these moves are so prevalent. They've just become normal. I mean, think about it.
Mhm.
We're talking about while we were watching the show. I don't know who it was, but they delivered a running. Oh, Bobby, he delivered a running power slam.
Mhm.
To Swerve, right? And I said to you, one day a long time ago, that used to be someone's finisher.
Yeah.
The Bulldog's finisher. That's
Yeah.
how you would end the match. So I think the point I'm trying to make here is like moves like what we saw with that pile driver are so they're not common, but they're common enough where they're not match enders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just this the way those guys, that style is just that acrobatic Circus Soleil
But
style of
that's
wrestling.
what hurts wrestling. So you can jump off an apron, smash a guy's head in the cement head first, but that won't finish him off. But you give him a super kick and he's finished. Like it's just so cheesy, and that's why AEW's ratings are hurting, and it just that should be it. Or don't do that move if that to the end of the match. If that's not going to be a finisher, like that's a crazy move.
Well,
But he
look,
survived it.
I'm not going to go through everything, but I'll say this. I think my favorite match, and you got to go back and watch it. You got to watch the Orange Cassidy versus Moxley match.
I
I
did.
thought,
Yeah, I watched the next day.
yeah, and I thought it was great. I thought that was my favorite match because that had that psychology. Moxley knows how to work with less is more. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it was good. I still like the Bobby Swerve match myself, but that was the
Yeah.
second best one.
I would say Bobby and Swerve was the second best match on the card, just because, I just thought that other match was just really, really good. I thought
Mm-hmm.
Moxley really carried it. He showed, that psychology that I like, less is more, getting the crowd reaction without having to do as much. A different style match than Bobby and Swerve, absolutely, but both great matches. I also wanted to give, and we've already talked about the Osprey match, but I'd have to say the Monet versus who did she fight? Statlander was a good match. It was
Mm-hmm.
decent. Those girls went hard, and I gotta give respect. I mean, I've been hard on Sasha or Monet now for quite a while, but man, she took some serious bumps, man. She's working hard, right? Like
Yeah,
she's putting that fragile little body through some really tough spots, right? And they're hitting hard too. So overall, I thought it was an
yeah, they work
interesting.
hard.
Yeah, I mean the rest of the card I can't say too much about. I don't want to be disrespectful, but let's just say that probably the worst match of the night had to be Jungle Boy versus Danny Garcia. And where they put that match was a huge mistake. I've read that they put it there strategically. This was strategically placed to show that emotion of that Danny Garcia stuff. But like you said, if you're not watching the program, you're not following it, you don't know what's going on, right?
It was a horrible match.
Yeah.
No psychology.
No.
Um, it was terrible. That match should be on Dynamite, and for Tony Khan to think that Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia are believable wrestlers, it goes to show you how out of touch he is. Those guys, I don't even think he should even be on the show. Look at them. 90% of the guys in the crowd kick their butt. So how the heck are you, as a dad, are you going to believe in these guys when you can just toss them like lawn darts? And I'm not saying they shouldn't have little guys in wrestling, but like they were bad. They're horrible. It was a bad match. It's pure garbage, to put it nicely.
Fair enough. All
And
right.
the best part about the match was the mask that Jack Perry wore down to the ring. He's had a little bit of character, a little bit of charisma, but they had no chemistry. They were hitting soft. You had no emotion. It doesn't draw you in, doesn't captivate you. It's pure garbage. I hate to be so harsh, but man, it was bad.
No,
Overall, pay per view wasn't bad. Wasn't bad pay per view overall.
I'll argue with you on 90% of the things that we talk about, but on this one, yeah, I sat with you. I said, I looked at you, go, dude, I have nothing to say.
Yeah, it's
I just,
embarrassing. Yeah, like
I
why
had
have
nothing
that?
to say.
You got a
I had
4
nothing to
hours of
say.
wrestling. Get that match out of there. Or like, what is Daniel Garcia's character? Just a pale, out of shape guy. That's his gimmick. Like, this is why people don't take wrestling serious. When you watch stuff like that, and I hear the criticisms in the boxing gyms or in soccer, wherever I hear it, and I think to myself, man, maybe they're right, because look what the heck, I'm sat and watched 20 minutes of that crap.
All right. So here's my question for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I read something last night and they talked about the article was about what is appealing to people who want to go over to AEW. And here's the number one thing that most guys and girls are maybe would change their mind from signing anywhere else is
Mm-hmm.
the fact that AEW will pay for your hotel, car rentals, and your flights. Now, WWE pays for your flights, but you are on the hook for your car rentals and you're on the hook for your for your hotel. So here's my question to you, Chance. I talked to you about it a bit last night. Now, you got to think you're at the Prudential Center. What's the rental? Let's say rent of the Prudential Center. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said yourself, wow, this is a really nice set. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That set costs an upwards of $2 to $3 million. That's including all the hands, that's including all the rigs, that's including all the people involved putting it together. They have their outside sources that have to come in and put it all together.
Yeah.
Not all of this travels with them like WWE to the most part, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got rent of the Prudential Center, you got at least $2 to $3 million. And I think I'm being fair when I say $2 to $3 million just on setup. That includes pyro and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you got the salaries of all these wrestlers, which you've paid extraordinarily well. Even at the lowest level, these guys are getting good money. You got 9,000 people in there.
Mm-hmm.
How are they able to afford to do all these things and pay all these per diems out the way they do?
TV money. TV money. some of the ticket sales,
But
some
it's not enough.
merchandise.
I can't see it being enough. How can it be TV money? Like they barely bring anything in.
They don't get great ratings, but they get a good TV contract. That's where a lot of their money comes from.
No, I get it, but
Video
still, it
games,
can't be
stuff like
that
that.
much. Like they're
They're not
not
making that
making
much
anything.
though. They're not
I mean,
making that
Tony
much.
Khan probably. I can't even see them being maybe not in the red, but very close to the red at every show. Like,
Yeah,
dude, they got maybe 500-600 people at Dynamite, and no disrespect, it's just they don't sell out. They don't fill anything up. Prudential
because he's
Center, it's a
putting
huge card. It's a pay-per-view. The upper bowl should be full. Like, I mean, right?
because well, in Tony's defense, one thing is he's starting out a new brand, right? It's only 5 years
10
old.
years though,
The
man.
WWE, it don't matter if they put me or you as a booker. It doesn't matter. That's like NFL. That name sells. Doesn't matter what
No,
you do.
I get that,
So he's
but
at
if
a
team,
disadvantage there. And the worst part about Tony Khan, he's so ignorant and he's so arrogant and he doesn't listen to anybody. And he thinks putting out Daniel Garcia and Jack Perry is going to make people want to watch it. It's going to be opposite, make people turn this off. Until he understands that, he's going to be in big trouble. It's 4 hours of a bunch of mostly indie looking guys. Like you get the Bobbies and Swerves out there. He does do a little bit of that. He's got to do more. That Hurt Syndicate is the best thing they have going. Hopefully he keeps running with that because if he flubs that, then he's, and he relies on too many old guys like
but see,
Jericho
I
and
think they've
Edge and
only
stuff.
fucked it up a little bit because you had an opportunity with the Hurt Lock or the Hurt Syndicate now.
Yeah.
You're basically playing the same formula over again. Like, okay, for example, what I'm trying to say here is you have a guy like Shelton Benjamin who was pretty much the lackey. Like, if you looked at the Hurt Locker, the Hurt
Mm-hmm.
business that was in WWE, outside of Bobby, the other three guys were just there. They were
Yep.
goons. They didn't do anything. They lost all the time. Bobby always had to come in and clean up all the messes, right?
Yeah.
You had an opportunity here to keep everybody strong. And right off the bat, you made Shelton a goon again.
He kept Bobby strong so far, at least. I'll give him that.
No, but Bobby was always strong even when they were part of that
I
organization.
know.
They were there.
Yeah.
Right. So I think they've already flubbed it because you've made Shelton a goon again. Like he just looked, he already lost to Swerve. Like, I mean, how are you going to keep this guy strong? You want to keep the Hurt Syndicate strong? Each guy has to be strong. You look at the House of Black, each guy has a good, strong base.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's why they've been consistent. They don't get that push, though.
Yeah. Yeah, Tony needs to start listening to some of the experts but he's too ignorant, he's too arrogant. He thinks what he's putting out there, and sometimes he does it right. Like he does do some good matches, he does do some good stuff. He's made some good signings. But he thinks he's a super nerd, right? He's a super nerd. He thinks that this is what people want to see, but dude, if you don't believe me, check the ratings, and I'm right.
Look. I mean, I also look at MVP as well because he just went red in the face, complaining and arguing and blaming everything on everyone. Yet you're allowing this guy to do the exact same thing with your faction.
Well, he's getting paid, right? A decent coin. What can he do, right?
But speak up then. Speak up. You can't say
well,
those
he's not
things.
going to speak up to his boss who got canned.
No. What I'm saying is you can't say those things about where you came from. I mean, you would not have a career if it wasn't for Vince and the WWE.
Oh, absolutely.
You were a jailbird.
I've never been a big fan of MVP. I always thought he was overrated. I didn't care for him ever.
You're a jailbird. You left. They kicked you out. They brought you back. They built you up again.
Yeah.
The only reason you're at AEW, Bobby could have gone there on his own, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
An MVPs in AEW is because of the name that he built with Vince and the WWE.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So for him to complain and everything, fine, I get it. You're entitled to your opinion and how you feel that you're treated. But if you go to another company where you can overpower the guy because everyone else does,
that's true.
Why are you letting him treat your faction the same way? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Maybe they have a long game plan that Tony's told them we don't know about it, so that's why he's.
Well, hey man, I mean they don't have. I've never.
I mean, you got to get the belt on Bobby eventually here. I don't see any other way around it. Within the next 6 months to a year, you put the belt on that guy. He's the biggest, best athlete, and one of the most popular guys you got. He needs a belt.
Well, like I said, I think the arc right now is with John Moxley kind of, creating a revolt in AEW where there's this not necessarily an outsider's angle, but from
you know what? In the sanctuary, what revolt are you going to create, John Moxley? You are the revolt.
Well,
you
are
the anti-wrestler. You're out of shape. You're pale. Well, what are you going to revolt against? Tony gives you what you want.
Well, he's been talking about, and he's doing like actual shoot interviews as well, where he's been talking about, like, in the last 5 years and the 4 or 5 years that he's been with them now, he feels the company just continuously spins its wheels. There's no direction, there's nothing going on. So this storyline, the way he's going with it, like, you never see the title anymore. It lives in a briefcase. You know what I mean? It lives in a sack, sort of a
Mm.
deal. So it looks like he's trying to take out everyone in AEW, all the original guys from AEW, to kind of
Yeah,
rebuild
he's
it
doing
and
like an
revamp it.
NWO thing, but the problem with Moxley is that you're not Hulk Hogan. You don't have that star stature. You're not in shape. You're pale. Yeah, you got a good character, but like you're not believable to do any revolting. When you are the revolt, you are the anti WWE, you are the punk rocker of wrestling. You already are, so it's not going to work for him.
Well, we'll see how it plays out, man. Because from what I understand, the Young Bucks are on a hiatus, and they're going to come back as faces, and they're going to come back to save AEW.
Yeah,
That's my
it's gonna be
understanding.
like Sting and those guys versus
Yeah,
NWO. It's the same idea, but the
yeah.
problem is they don't have the cachet, the look, or the appeal to do it that way. That's the
Well,
problem here.
let's see how it goes, man. We have a
Yeah.
big year coming up in January. Let's just get through the motions. I think we've basically covered everything that we needed to talk
Mhm.
about next week, because I want you to have some time to look at it. I want the fans to kind of read this article. I want to go through that 30 under 30 list that came out yesterday from ESPN. I think next week would be perfect for us to do that. Give us some time to kind of look at
I just
it.
gotta say one thing about that list. Absolutely outrageously ridiculous.
Okay.
We'll get
So
into
there
it from
you
there.
guys go. More reason for you to check it out. It's on ESPN.com. Just Google wrestlers 30
I'll
under
just give
30.
anybody a little appetizer. Any world where they have Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia ranked ahead of Austin Theory goes to show you how illegitimate that list is.
There we go, brother man.
Period.
All right, Survivor Series this Saturday. Looking forward to it. Before that, we are gonna see what they play out here and just go through the motions of it all. We have NXT, SmackDown. I think the card's already etched in stone. There's nothing really happening on
No.
SmackDown that's going to change anything that we've said here today. Spoiler alert: both heel teams will get the advantage in War Games. Looking forward to this card, man. I'm excited. I'm
Not bad.
excited. So, I mean, let's see how it all plays out. All right, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, I am Bobby Sampson. He is Mr. Chance Michaels.
And in the words of the great ACDC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you, and everyone out there, remember, keep fighting hard for your dreams. Every day is a gift. Just remember that. It doesn't matter if you're 20 years old. It doesn't matter if you're 10 years old. Just live every day like it's your last, because it could be. Mother Nature, the heavens above have a way of calling your number when you least expect it. So cherish the ones that are close to you, hug the ones that you love the most, and never go to bed angry with anybody. Samp and Chance
Yes.
are out.